If you're an overworked nonprofit grant writer, time is your scarcest resource. The natural instinct is to draft one master proposal, write it well, and jam it into every application to save time. But this attempt at administrative efficiency backfires. The resulting document is flawed by design. Your internal team gets bogged down in marketing language, and external donors get buried in your daily logistical to-do lists. This creates a frustrating dilemma. You have a structurally sound, highly effective project on the ground, yet you continually face rejection letters from foundations and grant makers. This quadrant chart maps out exactly how audiences interact with documentation. The y-axis represents our audience, moving from the internal team at the bottom to external funders at the top. The x-axis represents our focus, moving from daily logistics on the left to overarching impact on the right. Your operational documentation, the project proposal, belongs firmly in the bottom left quadrant. It is strictly built for your internal team to manage logistics. Persuasive documentation, however, belongs in the top right. A funding proposal is designed for an external audience, evaluating your long-term impact. The most common reason good projects fail to secure capital is a spatial error. You submit a bottom-left logistical document to a top-right audience, guaranteeing a total mismatch in expectations. A project proposal acts as your technical blueprint. Its entire purpose is to prove your organization's operational competence and clearly answer how the work will be executed. A funding proposal acts as a marketing pitch. Its job is to establish relationship trust and clearly answer why backing your project is a smart financial investment. When an external donor receives your operational blueprint, they quickly understand your mechanics. But they lose interest because the document fails to articulate why they should fund you over another organization. The competitive advantage is missing. You have a decision to make. You can continue trading your funding success for administrative convenience, or you can embrace a deliberate two-document strategy. Sending a project proposal to a funder is a category error. You are providing a highly detailed, comprehensive answer to a question the donor is not asking. Think of the project proposal as your engine. Its primary objective is to create a technically rigorous environment that guarantees internal execution and ensures the project is highly replicable. This comparison matrix breaks down the distinct components required for each document. Looking at the project proposal column on the left, the core question driving everything is this feasible? To ensure feasibility, we rely on work breakdown structures. This is where you assign daily tasks and map out granular resource allocations among your team members. It dictates how you will conduct baseline assessments and establishes strict requirements for internal documentation. It also meticulously catalogs internal operational risks, mapping micro-level hazards like venue unavailability or sudden volunteer turnover. This granular hazard mapping is highly jarring to an external reader who is simply scanning your document to determine overarching viability. While the project proposal is an essential tool for internal risk mitigation, exposing a donor to the strict Step 110 mechanics signals unnecessary anxiety. Now we shift focus to the external document. The funding proposal must strip away those daily logistics to sell the long-term destination. You cannot hand an external donor a standard spreadsheet of abstract operational expenses. You have to translate those line items into quantifiable, outcome-focused narratives. Returning to our matrix, the focus for the funding proposal shifts to social return on investment. By framing your budget as a specific cost per learner metric, you clearly quantify the direct value of the donor's capital. You replace the dry logistical lists of workshops with a legacy pathway. This provides a narrative that shows exactly how a single intervention translates into long-term community stewardship. It also requires strict strategic alignment. The outcomes of your project must be explicitly mapped to the donor's specific goals, such as fulfilling a UN Sustainable Development Goal. There is a trade-off to this external strategy. Achieving high strategic alignment requires significant document customization for every single donor you pitch to, noticeably increasing your upfront time cost. And because a highly persuasive funding proposal intentionally obscures the actual granular budgetary allocations, it is completely incapable of serving as a day-to-day internal management tool. The funding proposal is purely an advocacy document. It proves that your organization's methodology is the most effective vehicle for the donor's money. You cannot bypass the dense project proposal phase. Attempting to pitch a vision without having an operational blueprint locked down leads to structural failure. This introduces the Golden Rule Workflow. You must build your operational engine internally, but you only sell the destination externally. Here's the flowchart mapping that sequence. Everything starts here with a large, dense block, the project proposal. All of your operational logic originates from this document. Then comes the critical extraction phase. Grant writers actively filter out the work breakdown structures and logistics, retaining only the baseline assessments and the impact narrative. Finally, you take that high-value extracted data and branch it into highly tailored pitches, customizing each one based on the individual missions of donor A, donor B, and donor C. For a time-poor executive, forcing your team to build the operational logic first absolutely delays your initial fundraising timeline. But the counterbalance to that delay is significant. This rigorous sequencing dramatically prevents post-grant collapse and protects the organization from catastrophic audit failures down the line. For the grant writer, the trade-off is that extraction requires continuous communication with the operations team. You have to ensure your external pitch never outpaces the reality on the ground. Maximizing your grant conversion rates requires accepting a higher administrative burden up front. Funders invest in sustainable outcomes, not internal to-do lists.